So I went to go and watch Booksmart with my younger sister, who's 7 years younger than me, and my mum. So big age difference. I don't know how old my mum is. She won't let me know. And we all totally loved it. And straight away, all age groups were talking about it. Even my gran, who is 84, was like, so-and-so's gone to the cinema and they say that I need to go and watch Booksmart. And my mum's like, well, there's a lot of, and my gran's quite cool, but even my mum was like, take it with a pinch of salt, Gran.
My sister-in-law let my nephews watch it, but only once it was on DVD, so she could fast forward.
And instantly, the one thing that we all noticed was every single age group, we were just seeing it everywhere, and we were seeing memes of you and gifs of you, and like you and Caitlin dancing, and then my sister would start learning the dancing, and it was like a wave. It didn't stop.
I wanted to wear that flower crown in today, but I couldn't find one.
No, you couldn't find your one.
I couldn't find one that elaborate to really pack the punch of the bit. But what is? I mean, like before I got even to see the movie, just the crying and so many pictures of like, it's so crazy to be kind of.
It's cultish, like, and I think for both films it's actually quite cult. I think comedy is very similar in horror films. Definitely. In the sense that
they find their
and people are excited by sharing comedy and sense of humor, just like they're excited by sharing what they found scary or horrific about scary films. So I do find it interesting that they have very similar ways of moving and very similar ways of finding their ways into like your text messages or group WhatsApp, and you just have these shared memes. And actually that's happened a lot of both Booksmart and Midsommar. I see these memes everywhere, and it's caught on in the same way, no matter different genres, which is bizarre.
But because I am such a fangirl, clearly, I'm like, I get it. Like if that wasn't me, like maybe I would use it. I would start using you now.
No, I use you, don't worry. No, I think the reason why Booksmart has done that is because no matter, and this is go back to the ages, no matter who you are, every single woman and man, but women mostly, understand exactly what that is like, and it is executed to perfection. The way that girls go about their evenings, the way that they get ready, the way that they pump each other up, the way that they pull each other down. Like it doesn't matter how old you are, we all understand it.
I always like the way that Greta and Olivia capture like the space between women. I think is really their gift. Like it's not just the individual characters that they write, but it's the energy and the love between them. And I think that's just so beautifully personified in Little Women. I think I have a sister-in-law, but I don't have a sister, and but it just makes me like live out this fantasy. I was like, what a dream that would be. I was like, there's too many boys around. But what was that like, bringing that sisterhood to life in that way?
It was relatively easy, to be honest, but pretty much similar as what you were saying about Caitlin. It needed to be there. You can't just have 4 people. I think the whole thing about siblings, whether it's, you have brothers or sisters, you're on each other all the time, and you're hitting each other all the time, and you're kissing each other, and you're loving each other, and then you hate each other, and then you get in an argument over the washing up, and someone hasn't taken the bins out, but then you'll stay up and do homework with them. It's like this constant touching and fussing. And I think that was something that Greta from the get-go was like, I want this to be a mess all the time. I want the house to be a mess. I want you to always be doing stuff. I want you to be always touching each other. And I think straight away, we all kind of knew what that meant. We had to be friends straight away, and that wasn't a horrible thing. We got to be best friends with the coolest girls. So we similarly were living in a mews. Saoirse, Eliza, and I were all living in a mews, and Emma was just down the road. And we'd do dinners and sleepovers and all that. And then what you saw on camera was all pretty real. And
you could feel it. I mean, you really can feel it.
Yeah, and Saoirse and I have like this very fighty relationship anyway, like in a loving way. We just always want to wrestle one another. And so every single time you see Amy and Joe fighting, that's probably because either she came into work or I came into work, and we were like, should we fight today? And then we'd be like, yes, great. So we'd just like be clocking each other around the head. But it was totally natural and normal to be
And
that
she's
close.
so mushy, like that. It's so.
Yeah.
I remember being so nervous the first time I was meeting her because I was so in awe of her work. And she like koala bear hugged me, like she like got on, you know, like up on, and I was like, this is gonna be amazing.
This is gonna be amazing.
But she puts people at ease, I think.
Oh, totally. And she's so, everything is so effortless about the way that she acts and the way that she works that it's not even in any way daunting. It's like, oh, this is how I be then. I'm supposed to be like this.
She brings everyone up to her level, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
And Caitlin's the same way. Like, it's so funny because my vision of Booksmart is just Amy. Like, I have my kind of lens of it. It's just Caitlin. And it was like, I always say to her, it was like the biggest joy to just watch her.
Really?
Because she's just, it's the same with both of them. They're so
easy,
talented and easy that it's like a joy to play off of that energy.
So, Beanie, tell me about your upcoming role, Monica Lewinsky.
Well, we haven't started filming yet, so I don't have that much to say, except for that it's very daunting and very exciting, and Sarah Paulson is playing Linda Tripp, and so I love her more than
life,
anything to exist, and I've always been like her #1 fan. I think I've like modeled my life after her life in any way that I can, and we were always emailing, and we had never met, but we were just in life had been like set up on email, and we're chatting, and then when I found out that our characters really, you know, if you know the story, they are best friends, and then one deeply betrays the other one. She betrays me, and I just couldn't be more excited to play that out with a person I think to be like, you know, one of the best actors of all time. I know. And she's just so funny and warm and giving, and so just to take this journey with her is going to be. And you haven't started yet? We start early next year. I know. Also, I have one quick personal question. How to build a girl? Yes. How did that go? When I was listening to your accent, I was like, she's definitely from the South. Now I feel like I'm like an expert on British accents, because when I had to learn a Wolverhampton, Midlands accent. I bet you did. It's like, Catelyn, you couldn't have been from anywhere else. Okay, so I love her books. I love her. Growing up, she was my hero. I love her big, black, messy hair. I love her stripe. I also love how she once did this interview where she had just done this big shoot for like a magazine, and the interview was in there. And she basically then turned around and said, you do realize that all the clothes that I look good in those photos had like 17 clamps behind them. And I was like, oh my God, you're a legend. She's a legend. You're a legend. Catelyn Moran. What was that like? Because I love her. I loved that book. I read it when I was needing it. And I was so happy that you'd been cast, because I was like, if there's anyone that can do this big bundle of like beautiful mess, it's gonna be you. It was a similar feeling to when you got Little Women. It's such a beloved, I mean, more so because it's been around for ages, but it's such a beloved character, and for me, she's such a beloved British sort of icon. She's real, and that's what everybody is gasping for. She's the most honest person I've ever met, and it's contagious, and I think it shines through in her writing. She adapted the screenplay herself, and I'm so excited. It is so funny and beautiful and warm and weird, and it was really. I wonder if you had this in Midsommar, because like I felt like for the first time I was by myself. Yeah. Like I didn't have Saoirse, I didn't have Caitlin. You have to lead the ship. And I really learned so much from both of them. Yeah. How to do that, because I remember just thinking like, Saoirse acted this way, and she was such a beautiful example to me. Like if I could be that for someone else, that would be the greatest, gift of my life to do that, because she did that for me. But it was a lot of like alone pressure, because she's building herself. It's all you know, and she doesn't have any friends. It's really the story of a girl without friends, without a sister. Her mom is very absent, and it was really the greatest journy of. I'm so excited. My life. But it was the same thing. I was in Wolverhampton 3 days after finishing Booksmart, so you're just like, wait, this is not LA. But so excited. People of Wolverhampton have my heart now. I love them. I bet they do. I got to pull my own pint, which I think you'll be impressed by.